It also has like some very new facilities, including a new primary school, like new shops, a lot of new things. More drug use, because you have a lot of people who are probably not employed. You have maybe more crime. It's their first investment, so they are quite vigilant. They want to protect their property. So you find that you've got very vigilant neighbors. They look out for each other, and it really helps with the safety of that suburb as well. Hello everyone, my name is Kudzie Nicolle Mapiye, and on this channel I do videos about my life living here in Australia, and I also share different life lessons that I've learned along the way. In today's video I'm going to be talking about the best suburbs to live in Brisbane. So if you are looking to move to Australia, I would highly recommend living in Brisbane, because there are so many things to love about Brisbane. If you are living interstate, you're already in Australia and you're looking for your next adventure, your next place to move, Brisbane is a really good area. And I have done a video before, and I will link it down in the description about why it's a good place to be, why Brisbane is the best place to move to at the moment, because in the next 9 years we will be hosting the 2032 Olympic and Paralympic Games, and there are so many opportunities that exist at the moment and in the future in the city of Brisbane. And it is a very sunny state in Queensland, which is the Sunshine State. So if you love great weather, Brisbane is the place to be. I feel like I should be like the marketing person for Brisbane, but like, jokes aside, I really enjoy Brisbane. For the 15 years I've lived in Australia, I have only lived in Brisbane. I have traveled to other states, but no state has really grabbed my heart the way Brisbane has. And I just wanted to talk about the best suburbs to live in Brisbane, because some of my subscribers have reached out to me wanting to know some recommendations of some good suburbs to live with a family, to move to when you have a family and you are newly relocating. So I just thought I would do this video for anyone else who might have the same question and might be wondering, where is the best place to live in Brisbane? So I've got a few suburbs that I'm going to share with you, and I'm going to be focusing on places that are family friendly. So I'm really focusing on those people who have families, whether you have a young family, a family with young children, or you are a family with older children. So I'm going to be discussing some family friendly suburbs to live in Brisbane that I personally love and that I personally would live in and would enjoy life there. So Brisbane, first of all, Brisbane is like, there are two main like sides of Brisbane. There's the south side and there is the north side. So basically north side and south side is just like the side on which you live, like compared to where the Brisbane River is located. So if you live south side of the Brisbane River, you are on the south side of Brisbane. If you live on the northern side of the Brisbane River, you are on the north side of Brisbane. So when I first moved in Australia, I stayed in the south side of Brisbane. So I really have a good understanding of the lifestyle on the south side and everything. So I will start by the best suburb, in my opinion, that is that you should move to if you have a young family and you're looking to relocate to Brisbane. And on the south side, I would highly recommend Springfield Lakes. Now, when I look at suburbs to live, the things that I consider are, especially when I'm like considering for families, is schools for children. I also consider lifestyle. I consider safety, affordability, and just the general feel of the area. So The things that I love about Springfield Lakes is that it is a booming suburb, in that, you know, there is a lot of new development in Springfield Lakes. Springfield Lakes is slowly becoming a little city in its own. There is so much available in Springfield Lakes. Public transport, they've got a very good train system. They also have good homes, like spacious homes. So if you are a family, you're obviously, like, maybe you have 1, 2, 3 children, maybe 4, and so you need that space. So Springfield Lakes can really offer you that space. Like, they have, like, you know, very affordable 3, 4 bedroom houses, and that can be spacious with some backyard space as well if you like, you know, outdoor activities. The other thing that is available in Springfield Lakes, because it is a new area, you get some new parks. There's also like a very, very beautiful water park, like a lagoon, one of my favorite in Brisbane, and for the summertime it is a really, really good place to hang out. So Springfield Lake has those things on offer, and because it is it has like a very new section of that suburb, it comes with new schools. So that is one of the things that I love about, like, you know, newly developed areas, or all the suburbs that are now being like developed, and they're becoming like new areas. Everything is new. You have a lot of schooling, and, you know, the schools are new. So just one thing about schools that I want to mention, and this applies to all the suburbs that I'm going to be sharing today. When it comes to school, Brisbane has catchment areas, and that means that, you know, one school services a specific catchment area. So if you want to go to that school, you need to live within that catchment area. So which is why it's very important to choose where you live, because where you live is going to determine the schools that your children have access to. So if you want, you know, a variety of public and private schools, if you want to have that choice, and if you want, like, you know, public schools that are newer because it's a new area, then, you know, you choose those newer suburbs. So on the south side of Brisbane, I would highly recommend Springfield Lakes. Now, moving on to the north side of Brisbane. If you've been watching my videos, you know I love the north side of Brisbane. I've done you know, quite a few suburb profiles on suburbs that are on the north side of Brisbane. I myself live on the north side of Brisbane, and I moved to the north side of Brisbane when my husband and I got married, and I think it was the best decision that we made, because the north side of Brisbane really suits our personalities, the lifestyle that we want, just everything that we want to experience as a family. So on the north side of Brisbane, the suburbs that, before I talk about the suburbs, another thing that I consider when I am looking at suburbs to live for families is the demographic. So the demographic of a suburb is very, very important. And what I mean by the demographic, I mean the age group of the people who live in that suburb, and also the average household income, because that will determine quite a few things. For example, your demographic in terms of age determines, like, you know, the type of people that you're going to find in that area. So if you have a demographic of people who are, you know, mainly late 20s to like mid 20s to mid 30s, for example, that is, or mid 30s, mid 20s to mid 40s, if that is the demographic of the suburb, you find a lot of young families, you find a lot of, you know, families with young children, and that is a very important factor. Why is, when you look at development in a suburb, the demographic of that area really determines the kind of development that happens in that suburb. So you know that, you know, the local areas have local councillors, and they also have members of parliament. So when you're looking, your local councillors, what they look at, they want to, you know, they want to provide a service to the people. you know, and they also want to get votes. So what the people want is what they deliver. So if you have a suburb that has a demographic of, for example, mid-20s to mid-40s, and you have a lot of young families, you will know that those families want a lot of things that are family friendly. They want a lot of parks, they want a lot of sports centers, they want services for children, you know, all that kind of stuff. They want like healthcare facilities that are friendly to children and all that. So what the local councillors do is they listen to what the people want and then they deliver on that. So that's why you see that, you know, the types of development that happens in different suburbs is different because people want different things. So if you go to a suburb that's got a profile of, you know, people who are a bit more senior in age, like maybe mid-40s plus, those areas will not have a lot, those councillors will not deliver a lot of parks, you know, parks with swings and play equipment, because they know people in that age group probably don't have young children who want to go into parks. You know, they might even have facilities that cater to the needs of seniors. And, you know, so if you're not in that age group and you want to move to suburbs that have that demographic, you might find that they don't have the services that you need. And just to give you an example of how demographic matters, before we moved, when we first moved on the north side of Brisbane, we were living in an area that had a more senior demographic. So in that particular area, there were not a lot of parks. There were not a lot of really outdoor type of activities. And they catered more to, you know, there was a lot of like health services, podiatry, things that offer, like, cater to people who are more senior and their needs, because that's what they want in that area. So we found that when we wanted to start a family, we moved to another area that could service families and have the kind of lifestyle that we would want as a family. Now, moving on to average household income. So average household income really contributes to like the people who live in that area. So you have suburbs that have, you know, there are some suburbs in Brisbane who have a large majority of people who are medium income earners, and then maybe a small proportion of people who are low income earners, and then a small proportion of people who are high income earners. So how that affects that is, you know, when you look at schools and you look at, you know, kind of like the behaviors or the trends or things that happen with people from certain demographics, you will see how it affects like what happens in that suburbs, and it also affects safety. Like if you have probably areas with, you know, a large proportion of low income earners, you might find, and this is not to be judgmental or anything like that, but this is just things that you find in those areas. You might find a lot of, you know, more drug use, because, you know, you have a lot of people who are probably not employed. You have maybe more crime and things like that. So that's why the demographic is important. Now you might be wondering, how on earth are you going to know the demographic of a suburb? Now, the best place to go is to local real estate agents. They usually have the correct statistics when it comes to the demographic of that particular suburb. So you might want to search like different real estate agents in the suburb that you want and call them up and ask about what is the demographic of this suburb. They will tell you, is it a suburb with, you know, a lot of medium income earners? Is it a suburb with a lot of young families or, you know, more seniors? They will be able to really tell you up to date, reliable information about the demographic of a suburb. Now, I spoke about, just going back a little bit, spoke about Springfield Lakes at the beginning. So you find that Springfield Lakes has a majority of, you know, medium income earners. So medium income earners are mostly young families. Most young families are medium income earners. So that's that for Springfield Lakes. Now, going back to the north side of Brisbane, the suburbs that I would recommend for the north side of Brisbane, the first one is Dakabin. So Dakabin is a suburb that has a lot of new development, which means a lot of new houses, new builds, and a lot of young families and a lot of medium income earners. So that is the type of demographic that you will be looking for when you're looking for like schools and all that and development. They have like a newly built like shopping precinct with a new supermarket. Like it's just a lot of like good like parks, nice family friendly services, and they are also like very close to other services as well, like within the radius of suburbs with a similar profile, so they share other services as well. So Dakabin is a suburb that I would highly recommend, and for affordability as well, in terms of either you're looking to own a home or you're looking to rent. Affordability in Dakabin is very, very good. Now, I will link also in the description box below, I will link the real estate website where you can actually look at the specific price of rentals in these suburbs that I am talking about right now. And just to give you like a little bit of background about, suburbs and suburb profiles and what they offer. My husband and I built this house that we live in just, soon after we got married. We built this house, and we were actually the second house in this street that we live in. It was a very newly developed area. Now, the good thing about that is we have seen a lot of things being developed. For example, this street that we live in has more than 30 houses. We saw all those 30 houses being built, so we feel a very strong connection to this area. And another thing is there's also a lot of other services, a lot of other facilities and amenities being built. We saw a lot of parks being built. We saw a lot of like little shopping precincts being built. And we saw even like a whole new primary school being built. So that means it's a lot of things will be new. And if you're like me, like people like different things. I like things that are new. Like I'm not really a fan of vintage or old looking. I like things that are new. So if you like a new looking area with new facilities, new amenities, then these suburbs that I am talking about are places that you will probably be interested in. Now, I spoke about Dakabin. The next suburb that I would recommend is Griffin. Griffin is also a suburb which has a majority of medium income earners and young families. And it also has like some very new facilities, including a new primary school, like new shops, a lot of new things. So that is really good for young families. And just to speak about like new schools as well, when you have new schools, I mean, just imagine a new school has new furniture, new technology, just a lot of new things. So your kids have access to new up-to-date type of things. So if you want that for your children, then it's advisable to pick a suburb that's a newer suburb or a developing area. So that's Griffin, and Griffin is very good on affordability as well. It has a range of, mostly 3 and 4 bedroom homes that are very affordable when it comes to rent and also buying. It also has, it also is a relatively safe area because, like, to be honest, in all suburbs in Brisbane, you're going to find some level of crime. There's going to be break-ins, but I'm talking about things that, are relatively safer, people. And when you find with these new suburbs and these demographics where you have like, young families, medium income earners, these are people who are probably buying their first home. It's their first investment. So they are quite vigilant. They want to protect their property. So you find that, you've got very vigilant neighbors. They look out for each other, and it really helps with the safety of that suburb as well. And because there are not a lot of like low income demographic, you find that, that also affects the safety of the suburb as well. Now, moving on to my favorite suburb on the north side of Brisbane for families, that is North Lakes. I have done a suburb profile of North Lakes, which I'll also add in the description below. One thing about North Lakes, it is very unique. North Lakes is like a little CBD on the north side of Brisbane. If you live in North Lakes and the suburbs surrounding North Lakes, which are Griffin, Dakabin, and the other one I'm going to talk about, you really do not need to go into the city because you have all your shopping, like shopping malls, large shopping malls. You have pretty much anything you would find in the city and more located in North Lake. It is really a little like CBD. One unique thing about North Lakes, it has a mixed demographic in that it has some areas of North Lakes that have a majority of medium income earners and young families. And then you have another side of North Lakes that has a lot of high income earners and a lot of mansions and not a lot of luxury type of living. And you'll see from the videos that, the suburb profile that I've done in North Lakes that, there are some very beautiful homes. Some of them, like a lot of them being $1 million properties and, very beautiful. So why this suburb is unique and it's my favorite is if you live in North Lakes, it's really easy to transition when your lifestyle changes within the same suburb. So you might start off as a medium income family and live in North Lakes, and then things might get better in life. You might win the lotto. What are the chances? You might win the lotto. You might do very well in business. You might do very well in your career and amass a lot of wealth. And then you can move to the other side of North Lakes where the rich play. So you don't really need to move outside of the suburb of North Lakes to experience different lifestyles. So that is one unique thing about North Lakes that I love, that mixed demographic. They have that little CBD feel where you have a lot of facilities. You find a lot of schools in North Lakes. There are private schools in North Lakes. There are a lot of high schools in North Lakes, which is an important thing. So some of these suburbs only have probably one high school, or maybe one high school. Some don't have high schools, but North Lakes has a variety of primary schools and a variety of high schools. And it also has, very close proximity in North Lakes as well, has private schools, and close around North Lakes other private schools to choose from, which offer primary and high schooling. So, that's another thing about North Lakes that I love. Another, thing about North Lakes is just restaurants. I'm a foodie. I love to eat. There's a lot available to choose from in North Lakes. So that is one of the things about North Lakes that I love. So I would highly recommend North Lakes, and it's a suburb where you can find, more affordable houses if you're a young family, and you can find also more expensive housing if you are into that kind of lifestyle. Now, the last suburb that I'm going to talk about is Mango Hill. Mango Hill is a very good suburb. It is also it has an older part, just like all the other suburbs. They all have like an smaller part of the suburb, but a large new development, like very newly developed areas, right? And that offers, so within Mango Hill, you have a lot of medium income families, and you also have a proportion of high income earning families as well. Similar, not to the level of North Lakes, but quite similar. So if you are living in Mango Hill, you might make that transition as well, from living to more affordable housing and then move to more luxurious housing. All that is available in that area. Mango Hill also has a very new primary school, which people have recommended. I know some friends who have their kids at this new primary school, and it is a public school, and they also have private schools in the suburb as well. So Mango Hill, Dakabin, Griffin, North Lakes, those are the suburbs that I would highly recommend for young families looking to relocate to Brisbane. Now, for all these suburbs that I've spoken about, including Springfield Lakes, another important thing that I want to highlight is daycares. Now, daycares, if you have younger kids, so I have a younger child who is still in daycare. So you go in daycare up until the age of like 4 or 5 before you go into school. So daycares in newer suburbs, which cater for medium income families and more younger families, have a lot of daycares available. And these daycares are not as expensive as the daycares that you would find in suburbs where you have a more senior demographic and higher income earning families, because they don't really have those needs. So they have to bump up the price because, you know, they won't have a lot of those facilities because people there don't have young kids. So you might have maybe only 1 or 2 daycare centers and everyone wants to go to those. So they have to bump up the price because of the demographic that live there and all that kind of stuff. The price of houses, it all adds up to the price of daycare. So if you want more affordable daycare, it is highly recommended that you move to a suburb with a demographic that has medium income earners. So that is all I wanted to share about, you know, suburbs that I would recommend for people to stay if you're looking to live in Brisbane. So, you know, you can search and live in other areas of Brisbane. Most of the suburb profiles that I have been doing are more for luxury real estate. That's what I've been trying to show in my videos, like, you know, aspirational living. But these are more medium, like income earning suburbs with that demographic. Like they might not have, you know, the luxury type of housing that you see in my suburb profiles. And let me know in the comments below if you want me to do some suburb profiles of these suburbs that I've talked about. These are suburbs with medium income earning, more affordable type of living. Let me know if you're interested in that or you like the more luxury real estate. So yeah, that's all from me, guys. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below. I always love interacting with you in the comments, and I've been enjoying seeing also the comments, the inquiries that have been coming through to my email as well. So, you know, please continue reaching out. I love to help, and I love to get people to move to Brisbane and to feel better about, you know, moving to Brisbane when they have the information that they need. All right, guys, that's all from me today. I'll see you in my next video.